Oh my god, it's been so long. How does it look? Is the stream holding up at all? The quality and the audio and the it's so good. I don't know how, America. I don't know. America walked in on me like at my lowest point ever. On the floor, fully naked, face down. It was so bad. I've got some stories to tell. You're so good in green. Thank you. Ass up. Face down, ass up. That's the way. Yeah. Oh boy, where to start? Where to start? So, let's talk about this Wi Fi journey for a moment. Just for a moment, okay? I'm sitting there. Let's get some Wi-Fi. Call up AT&T. America actually calls. She goes, "Hey, AT&T, Mr. AT&T man, we would like some Wi-Fi." That's what we had in our last apartment. And the AT&T worker said, "Actually, my lord, we're on strike. The workers are on strike, and as a result, we can't get to you for a few weeks." And I love unions and labor organization and, sticking it to the man, but do they know who I am? Do they know who I do live feed updates with? Like, I get it if, Jack, who works at the office and comes home to his two kids, his dog, his white picket fence, he can't, use Yahoo Sports for a couple days. That's fine. This is my livelihood. And more than just my livelihood, this is your entertainment. Without me, I don't know how you guys are going to spend your days, your evenings. Thank you, Night Cheese. Thank you, Melfna, for the 8 months. Mountain for the resub. Tom, Martins. Appreciate all of you. Cory will cross the picket lines to solve inconveniences. I could not have said it better myself. I'm not just crossing the picket lines, I'm destroying the picket lines. I'm personally notifying Jeff Bezos that there's some union activity going on, and I will get it shut down if it's the last thing I do. Thank you, Mama Kellogg and Maleficent, for the subs. I appreciate it. Who do you want from BB26 on the cruise? It's crazy that like Janelle has unilateral power to just invite people. I understand she's like the organizer, I guess, or one of the organizers, but like, look at this shit. Let me. This was a tragedy. Who would you vote for? You can see where I voted, and I love Cedric, but bro, this is like Elon Musk when he posts a poll being like, "Who are you voting for? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?" And it's like 83% Donald Trump, and he's like, "See, see." It's like this. We need a more even playing field for this kind of poll. Y'all voted Quinn. So I see you, Stan, you, Mama Kellogg, Katie, you guys, you three and me were the 4 votes total. Why did they waste so many spots on people who played over a decade ago? I don't think it's wasting spots. I think there's as many spots as. I think they are down to fill some rooms, to be honest. Like, the cruise is going to happen, but, like, I think. I don't think they hate that aspect of, oh, it's one less room we have to sell. Did you cancel Xfinity? I have to. We're doing Google Fiber, which is better. Overall, it's a good thing. We're getting fiber tomorrow for a little bit more, like a couple, $5-10 more a month. It's like 1 gig instead of 500 megabytes. It's a good thing. Can you cancel soon? Can I cancel in like an hour after a stream? I can cancel right now. I'll yap. Fiber's the best. I do. Yeah, no, I'm aware. So we call up our friends at AT&T, and they're on strike. It's messed up, you know. At the end of the day, like, I appreciate that they want higher wages, but I want internet. But you know, we move on. Okay. Hopefully it works out. Next up, we go to Xfinity. Good old faithful Xfinity. We thought that was our only other option at that point. You know what I mean? Xfinity's like, we got you. We're gonna make an appointment for Tuesday. This is on Friday, which is like, all right, that's kind of a shit show. It's a bummer. We have to have 4 days of that internet. Whatever are we gonna do? But you know, we move. We'll try to figure it out. They're still on strike, yeah. So we wait. Today's Tuesday. Oh, it's time for them to come. They show up and they can't do it. Is this problem and this problem and this problem, and the wire's been cut, and we need to send construction out, and who knows how long it'll take. And then I dropped this line. I dropped this line, and they didn't know how to respond. I said, Bowie Jane is coming tomorrow. Guy dropped his wrench in the moment. It was crazy. It was like my words had like a impact on his neural impulses. But they still said they couldn't do anything, so I'm like, okay. I start bugging out. I tell America it's over. I get into this room. I lie on the floor. It was not good. Not good at all. There's so many things going. Like, here's the thing. Nothing in my life is a disaster right now. Everything's pretty good. But every little thing is not going well. Like, all the small inconveniences are happening in a row, and they're compounding on each other. You know that kind of feeling? Like, this happened to America today, but like, she tried to open a can and her can opener break. It's shit like that. Stop being a baby. Okay, Katie, time out my dad for 10 minutes. Do it. That's why you were face down, ass up? Yeah. Some days you just want a little mercy on the small stuff. Exactly. You're not trying to lose Michael Rottenberger's Twitter follow. You're going to make me do it. You're about to lose your modship, Katie. When I tell you jump, your response is how high? So I was kind of bugging out, and then the event, there's problems. I do have some good news to report. Obviously, I'll be very cagey with the details for obvious reasons. But the person on Twitter who is, whoa, Martin's lat. Sorry. I'm going to have to wait on that cliffhanger for just a moment. Thank you, Martins. See, this is what I should do. I should get on stream and pout more often. But thank you, Martins. I appreciate it. You're very, very kind. Still above 1,000 subs by some miracle after taking this many days off. I'm glad. But thank you, Martins, again. So, the person on Twitter who was being unhinged and threatening to do a lot of things and a lot of bad stuff, you all know basically the situation. We got in contact with law enforcement, got in contact with the FBI, used every medium we can, used our connections that we have, everything. And they were able to identify the person. They were able to identify where they live. They visited that person, and they're keeping tabs, and that is dealt with. So I'm shocked, personally. Wait, what happened? There's someone threatening to do horrible things on Twitter to myself in America and other people. And I will say, I'm very surprised by this turn of events, just because I had no faith it would happen. I thought it would be a anonymous Twitter user stays anonymous to the end of time, but there was action taken, so good on them. Yeah. All cops are bastards except for these ones. These ones did a good job. But I think it's just important that there's like real life consequences for these ridiculous things that you do online like it's important. And it's not like America and I did this to send a message. It was like just for our own sanity and everyone else's safety. Must have a great father with connections. Wait, so Dad, is this your connections that came through? Because I know we used a ton of different mediums to reach out. My dad's taking full ownership. He's acting like he flew out to the location and knocked on the door himself. Bowie Jane connections. You think Bowie Jane's got connections in law enforcement? Probably knows a good attorney. Yeah, we know their name and their location and everything, but I'm not going to share that for obvious reasons. That's not helpful. He busted the door down like the SWAT team. Yeah, that's my dad. I don't know if you all have seen pictures of him, but he's like 6'4". I don't know how this happened to me and Zach. I don't know where those genetics went. Can we know their age? Just curious. 97. Tweeted from their wheelchair. No, I'm not gonna share their age. Ay, ay, ay. I know their stay-at-home nurse was scared. Oh no, they were in on it. Thank you, JPR. I'm just surprised Angela's kids would take it that far. No, I'm kidding. That actually is super sad. Angela's, I think, daughter tweeting, like, I want my mom to come home. It's been too much. That made me sad. I was like, aw. Like, that would break my heart. Like, it reminds me of, like, when I was at a sleepaway camp, and I, like, wrote a letter to my parents being like, I want to go home. I'm sad. Like, I would hate to see that. Do you feel better now about having the event? Yeah, we're having the event. It's safe. We have private security as well. So, overall, it's probably a good thing. Just going to be more secure than it ever was going to be before. But yeah, we're getting fiber tomorrow. We've got guests flying in tomorrow as well. America and I watched half of Big Brother 7 today, week 2. We'll get that out. Podcast, we're going to hold off for like a day or two to try to record with Bowie. Because we figured that would just be more fun for you all. Who are the guests? Bowie, and then maybe some mystery guests that have not been leaked. Is A-Dog joining you? When? Not right now. She's doing her makeup. Getting ready for the Bachelor finale. Fiber or Fiverr? Fiber. Fiber. Thank you, Nathan, for the gift. Where's Bowie staying? I think Bowie's going to stay in the bedroom. America's a very kind host. I would have been like, hey, I give you your own room and an air mattress. I'm a great host. Do you think Zingbot's next week? That would line up. We had ours at the final 9. You'd think it's Zingbot or Otev. I'm sure they're not going to combine them again. Air mattress on the floor is crazy for Bowie. Well, yeah. Make sure she. Yeah, my dad was ranked very highly in the state in tennis when he was younger, and he's pretty good now. And he's convinced he could beat Bowie, who is like top 3 in Australia. So if you guys want like a pay-per-view event for me to set up, I can set up Bowie Jane versus Zach Dad. Yeah, it's been hectic, Nathan. I'm sorry. If you resubmit, I'll get it done. We see where you get your confidence from. Yes, I mean, you could call it delusions, but confidence is another word for sure. I'll tell you what, my dad would do well in every Big Brother comp that was like crapshooty. Not crapshooty, but like the skill based, like that kind of thing. Like he's really good at that kind of stuff. Thank Grady for the sub. We're gonna think Chelsea's winning the season. Honestly, Chelsea's one of the only people I can even imagine winning the season. Like I'm closing my eyes and trying to envision different players winning, and none of them make sense. Like even like T Core, I can't see. Quinn, I obviously can't see. Weirdly, I could see Rabina. Mackenzie all of a sudden has a chance. Mackenzie's gonna win the season. Are you still out on Leah? Yes, I am. But you guys have to understand. Oh, Nathan. Nathan, you shouldn't have. I appreciate it. Let me show you my tweet interaction I had, because I was kind of heated. I didn't even see this part of it. Thank you, Nathan, though. Again, I appreciate it. Way too kind. So I tweeted this. If Leah used the veto on Angela, Quinn's cooked, could nom Joseph, but really should be targeting T-Core. It might be impossible to evict her, so I don't know. This was a good take. Look at this. So I said, sigh. And then this guy said, why do you think he's such a good player? This is 2 total flop HOHs. Such a great player. I said, cite anywhere where I ever once even floated the idea that Quinn was even close to being a good player post week 1. So they posted player rankings, which we're going to be doing today, where I have Quinn 3rd. And it's like, when you have a ranking that's 1 to 10, 1 to 11, someone has to be 3rd. Like, here's how I feel. You're giving Quinn's 4s and 5s. Literally. Like, every single week, I've not given him higher than a 5. I haven't. It's all relative. And, like, truly, and tell me, if you were to rank Big Brother 25 and Big Brother 26, every house guest, so there's 16 and 25, let's not count Luke, 16 and 25, and 16 and 26. I think the top 3 or 4 are 25. You know what I mean? Like, I think Suri, Matt, Jag, and me might be the top 4. And you could maybe throw Chelsea in that me-Jag mix. You know what I mean? And I think someone like T-Core is much closer to Bowie than she is to Matt or Suri. Did I say that backwards? T-Core is closer to Bowie than she is to Suri or Matt. You know what I mean? In terms of gameplay, yeah. Chelsea's better than Jag or Matt. I just don't. Again, like, the Jag thing's weird because it's, do you actually value his competition ability? If you value him setting comp records, then that's a different thing. Chelsea's good. I think Chelsea's the one person you could argue. The sole person you could argue deserves a spot in that mix. But is T-Core a better player than any of those people? Would you guys say T-Core is better than Jag? Sure. I know you guys don't think highly of Jag. Based on the season so far, do you think T-Core is better than me? I don't think so. I had a lot of mistakes, but I feel like T-Core hasn't done much well. Like, I've got more upside and downside than T-Core, I guess. Like, I just think... And T-Core, I think, at this point, is probably the consensus second best player of the season. I don't even know who else you'd argue, unless you're a real big Cam truther. Do you prefer Quinn or Blues DRs? I prefer Quins. Because here's the difference between Quinn and Blues DRs. I think Quins are authentic. I think Blue, I like her authentic DRs. Her inauthentic DRs, I don't like as much. And I want to say, like, my DRs, I think, seem very rehearsed. Like, you could not like those too. But I think that's more like me being a public speaker and, always trying to do that. Like, I think Quinn is Quinn. I think Blue is Blue and then sometimes tries to be kitty kitty purr. Sometimes. I think that was mostly towards the, last few weeks. Brenna, you have to understand, if you ever make a statement that, like, okay, every Big Brother fan thinks the current is worse than the previous. Obviously, people right now think 26 is better than 25. I understand that. But they're much more annoyed by Quinn than they were at Blue. But if 25 had Quinn and 26 had Blue, they would say Blue is worse. Like, whichever's happening in the moment annoys them more. And Quinn knows it. Like, the way Quinn talks in DR, the way he conducts himself, people are going to dislike him. A lot of people are going to dislike him. So I don't hold that against you if you don't like it. I just think the idea that he's performing or playing a character, like, he's just that. That's him. So, like, this whole thing of, like, I put Quinn third, it's like, okay, who was below him? Rabina, Chemo, Cam, Joseph, Angela, Mackenzie, Leah. Like, this cast sucks. And I like it. I enjoy the cast. But this cast is really, really weak. Like, really weak. Like, even the players who are supposed to be okay, like, Chemo should be a lot better than he is. You know what I mean? Leah is so good, though, actually. We'll talk about it. Leah, I think, had a really good week. A really good week. But, like, the way I talk about Leah is, like, if Big Brother 26 was a 3-player game, she'd be the best player of all time. The problem is there's every other house guest. Like, she's great at manipulating Joseph and Quinn. Like, amazingly good. And then there's every other house guest. Like, she has no pull with Chelsea or Takimo Bina or, any of them. Yeah, Grady, I think you have a very optimistic perspective. Like, I don't think Cam and Mackenzie have her back. Angela's under her wing. Sure, she was also under Tucker's wing, and T. Cory likes her. Sure, like I think you're definitely the glass half full perspective of Leah. But I think relative to this cast right now, Leah's not in a bad spot at all. And one thing I want to urge you all is to not take the jury management stuff seriously yet. Like, when people saying who they're going to vote for, who they're not going to vote for, I think someone like Angela or even like Joseph to a certain extent, you could be like, okay, no one really respects them. But when people are saying, oh, I'm not going to vote for this person over this person, give it some time. You guys saw me for 79 days in the house. The live feed's on every single day. And the second I was evicted, who do you think I was voting for? What was your perspective based on everything I said in the house, every moment I was in the house? Matt. And I meant it. I wasn't BSing you guys. And then you go into the jury house and things change, because things always change. Like, Cam, the entire season, thought he had Matt under his wing. Liked Matt. That's my guy. It's Matt. Comes into jury, immediately wants to vote for Jag. Like, it's early days right now. We're a little over halfway through the season, days-wise. If I'm Quinn, here's my opinion. If Quinn makes it to the final 2, he is going to win against anybody. Maybe if he gets there with, like, T-Core or Chelsea, it might be a little dicey. But Quinn is in that position that I was in, where he's viewed as smarter than he actually is. He's viewed as more strategic than he actually is. And if he somehow makes it to the end, he's going to get the votes. He loses to Chelsea? Sure. I think Chelsea, look, I don't want to count votes, but Chelsea and T-Core could be a little bit dicey. But the whole perspective is like, oh, Quinn can't win because he doesn't have T-Core, Chemo, or Rabina's vote. It's already over for him. It's like, no. I think Quinn's sitting in a fine spot for the jury. And I want you guys to keep in mind, it is extremely, extremely, extremely rare that 2 players make it to the end with, like 2 of the biggest jury threats make it to the end, for example. That's very rare. Matt and Jag is pretty rare. Usually what happens is you get rid of the jury threats, and then at the final 3, you get rid of another jury threat. Do final speeches affect votes? No. Unless they're terrible, basically. Like, I think Matt could have lost if he was up against Suri or someone. Because Matt would have had the votes going in, and if he was that bad, I think votes would have flipped to Suri. As long as you don't tank it, I think you're fine. Season 20 is a rare occurrence. Yeah. That was mostly on Tyler because he should have just taken Angela or Sam or someone. T-Core is coming around on Quinn. So here's my perspective on T-Core and kind of like, this is going to sound a little bit harsh, like kind of the tantrum she's been throwing. Like, it's a low-key tantrum. Like, she's very chill. Of like, she's just very bitter against Quinn. I think it makes sense. And I like T-Core a lot. Like, I'm kind of trying to give T-Core as much grace as I can. It's like, she has been in a position in the game where everything has kind of gone her way. The entire season so far. And this is the first moment of adversity she's really had. Rabina had a lot of adversity with, you know, Tucker going out, and she was on the block, almost evicted, and Chemo was on the block week 1. You know, like, this is T-Core's first real obstacle, and as we know, players deal with obstacles very differently. Deal with adversity very differently. Say what you will about Quinn, I think Quinn deals with adversity very well. He kind of lets it roll off his back and tries to keep playing. Joseph seemingly is dealing with this adversity reasonably well. T-Core, who I think takes things a bit more personally, obviously is more... Her empathy drives her decision-making more than most. It does not roll off her back like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's just like a difference of like who you are in the game. Quinn and Joseph are the superfan nerds. It's the same as me. Like, I didn't take it very personally when Matt and Jag betrayed me. America did. America was a more emotional player than I was. I think that's just what's happening. Feels like they're setting up a Rabina win. I'm back to being pretty high on Rabina. I like the way Rabina's playing a lot. I kind of hope she makes it through this week somehow. Thoughts on Cam? He's got a lot of win equity. I'll tell you that much. He's got a lot of win equity. Oh boy. And I'm telling you, this is one of those things where like everyone criticizes Jag for being evicted. Understandably, rightfully so. If Cam wins the game, are we just gonna like pretend like he didn't get bailed out by Chelsea winning the AI Arena over Brooklyn? Because he would have just been evicted. You know? It's just like things like that when you like I'm really interested in like the rankings and the looking at people's games holistically, and like it's not the same thing. I mean, he was a competition away from losing the game. Jag was evicted. I mean, y'all, he was the target. Look, it is different, right? Jag was evicted and Cam wasn't. But the reason Cam was evicted had nothing to do with Cam. Do we give Felicia credit for staying over Izzy? I certainly wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's just really important to judge players based on their ability and their merit and their conversations and how they conduct themselves and their plans and everything, more than exactly how the game plays out, because there's so much variance in that part of it. So, like, personally, I would not hold it against Cam that much that all this shit happened, because I've seen Cam as a player for the past couple of weeks, and I feel like that's it's giving me a fuller picture of how he plays. Cam wouldn't even be up there if there was no AI Arena? What do you mean? Like, he wouldn't be the third nominee? Like, he wouldn't be one of the top 2? But Cam wasn't evicted? Yeah, but you're just being dense. Like, you know exactly what I'm saying, and you're just saying, nuh-uh. Like, Jag wasn't evicted either. He never walked out the front door. There were votes cast against him, but he had invincibility. I'm not a big Jag defender. I just think it's like, at a certain point, someone being evicted early, it happens. I think Jags play those weeks is pretty unforgivable, but then you keep going. Then the rest of the game plays out. Look, I want to be clear. I'm not saying, Jag being evicted is not a bad thing. It's a very bad thing, and he could have been evicted the next week. Truly, I think Jag's gameplay week 5 was significantly worse than his gameplay week 4. And week 4, he was evicted, and week 5, he stayed. That's, my point. It's not always that straightforward in terms of, you're evicted, you're bad. You stayed, you're good. It's just, come on. My whole point is when people are very high on Cam's game, Cam's playing really well, he just listens, he has good reads. He was going to be evicted after volunteering for the block and not campaigning the entire week. Not even considering campaigning, if not for the fact that Chelsea beat Brooklyn in an AI arena. That happened. And yes, he volunteered a different week than the week he actually got on the block, but the point stands. And you guys are going to see where I ranked Cam. I'm pretty high on Cam relative to this cast. But I just think we all have to pump the brakes and try to recalibrate our memories to how bad everyone has played this season. Well, I think the America Jag thing, it's mostly Jag's fault, but Matt was kind of poisoning the well there. Agree to disagree on Cam. If you guys really want to die on the hill if Cam's a really good Big Brother player, fucking go for it. You guys can die on that hill. We'll see. I wish you guys luck because we've seen 7 weeks of content, and I feel like we have a conclusion. He's better than Jag. I think that's an insane opinion, but that's fine. I think it's an insane opinion. I really do. And look, can Cam eventually be better than Jag? Sure. You need to see more from Cam? Yes, exactly. That's all I'm saying. We got to see more. Because he played horrendously for 4 or 5 weeks where he was a non-factor. The joke was, where the fuck is Cam? He was on the block, didn't campaign all week, had a good chance of being evicted. Wasn't. I think he's growing, he's evolving, he's becoming a better player over time. He's becoming better as time goes on. So did Jag. Was Cam as terrible as Jag? No. Cam never had the lows that Jag had. But Jag also then went on to win the game and set the comp record. If Cam does something comparable to that or makes a really deep run, plays well, I'll give him his flowers. I'm not anti-Cam, at all. I'm certainly not pro-Jag. But I just think, it's goofy. If you compare Jag and Cam's pre-jury alone, Cam is way better. 100% I agree. Then in the post-jury, Jag won every competition and won the game. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. I 100% agree with what you're saying. You citing comp wins ain't helping? Big Brother 25 was determined by comp wins. That was the sole factor that determined who won the game. Comp wins, I hate it. You know how much I hate it. They're extremely important, being able to comp out. That is why I have Cam as high in my player rankings as I do today. Because he can comp out theoretically. It is such an incredibly massive factor of the game. The main reason I don't give someone like Joseph any win equity is because he can't win comps. Same with Leah, even though she won the veto, full respect. But she can't reliably comp out in the same way as these other people. Same with Angela. Same with a lot of these people. Have we done the rankings yet? Now we'll do them in a minute. I mean, comps, I think, will. I don't think that. Here's the thing. I don't think comps are going to be more equitable necessarily this season towards the end, but the field is more equitable. Cam doesn't seem to be as good as Jag at these comps, right? And there is no Tucker left. So it's like, even if the comps are inequitable, the results will be more equitable. You know what I mean? Like, BB24 did not have equitable comps at all. And that's why Michael ran the table. But there was also Monty and Taylor, who were, like, good competitors. And Turner was good at, like, if you've got a good field, it doesn't matter how equitable the comps are. The problem with BB25 is you had inequitable comps and an imbalanced field. Quinn's been better at comps. Yeah, I mean, Quinn's been good at some weird stuff, though. It's been very all over the place. Chelsea's decent at comps. Do we have any reason to believe Chelsea's decent at comps? Like, her AI arena was terrible, and she won a quiz, right? Like, I wouldn't doubt it. She's smart, and she used to play sports, but I guess like my thesis to all of you is just we need to be less results oriented as a community, as a Twitch chat. Saying like Chelsea's won more than Cam, like look, the AI arena, at least Chelsea and Cam were head to head. They were both terrible. But like Cam, like they just I don't know. Angela has won more competitions than Cam as well. I'll take Cam. I'll take Cam. Slip and slide is going to be Cam or MJ. Yeah, I mean, you'd think it would be Cam, but there always is like if you're a big guy, but you can't balance, it doesn't matter that you're a big guy. You'll lose. So we'll see about that. I hope there's slip and slide though. I think it'd be fun. I enjoy watching it. I think it's probably the most inequitable comp to ever exist, but fuck it, whatever. If we're not going to be results oriented, then Jag is one of the worst of all time. I don't. I just think you guys have the opinion that I think very highly of Jag's game, and I certainly do not. But I'll stop talking about Jag. Like, I'm not high on Jag's game. I'm also not high on Cam's game yet. You voted for him? Who were my fucking options? I didn't get to write in a name. You want me to run a poll in chat? Who do you want? Who do you think I should have voted for, Matt or Jag? Let's see how that poll shakes out. I crushed the vote without even the requisite knowledge. I didn't even know most of the reason I'd vote against Matt, and I still voted against Matt. I crushed it. He was literally voted out. You guys are so stupid. You guys are so stupid. I can't. I can't. You guys are so stupid. You're just so dumb. Yes, he was voted out. Yes. He was voted out on day, what was it? 30? He was voted out on day 30. He had 70 days after that where we got to see him play. And he was bad for some of them, and he was good for some of them. Most seasons before a season like 16 were like 75 to 80 days. We got 100 days of Jag. Evaluate him on the 100 days. And that includes him being evicted and him being terrible at the start and him being a little bit better at the end and winning all the comps. Like, is it that big of a request for you guys to treat your player evaluations like a rich tapestry? Is that so hard? Am I asking too much of you guys? Because if you guys just want to say, it's about placement, it's about how many votes you got cast against you, how many times you're nominated, let's not even talk. Let's just go to Big Brother Wiki, and they'll tell us who the best player of all time is. Because it's Derek Levasseur. I'm sorry, it is. It's Derek and Cody are top two, and it's not close. The stats show. Oh, you say it's Dan? Well, Dan was voted out. Or, not voted out, but he lost a jury vote. Derek never lost one. Dan was nominated multiple times. Derek was never. Cody really wasn't ever. Dan was nominated week 2. He could have been evicted at the start. He had 3 lives in BB14. He lost 2 of them immediately. It's just all I ask. Because I know the Big Brother community is one that doesn't enjoy nuance. Just evaluate the players by how good of a player you think they are. Because I got 8th place. 8th is not very good. How many players who got 3rd or 2nd do you think I'm better than? Because it's not all about placement. It's not. And I feel like we put a lot of... I don't know. A lot of importance on placement and if you won and jury votes and getting evicted. It's like, no, we could just evaluate players. Yeah, like you could also weigh the whole everyone in Big Brother 25 went into the season in like the most historically ridiculous imbalance twist of all time. like that's a factor too. Like we all started behind the fucking 8 ball. Like, you know, that's one part of it that I don't feel the need to always bring up. But that happened for sure. Jag tries to start family style any other season, it probably steamrolls like BB21. You know, like that's a part of it. Like just again, rich tapestry. At least nobody went home night 1. I was in a lot of trouble night 1. a lot of trouble. Thank you, Steele, for the 9 months. I do not look at comps or wins when I think of good players. Suri is the best to never win for a reason. In Survivor, maybe. But comps are much more important in Big Brother than challenges are in Survivor. I think we all agree on that. You are the best Jewish nerd to find love on BB in the show's history. I think Eric Stein clears me. I don't know if him and Jessica were ever in love necessarily. I couldn't speak to that, but I think I'm number 2, unfortunately. Even on that niche, you know, they dated for a while. I bet they said they loved each other. All right, let's do the player rankings. Do you know how long Eric and Jessica were together? I don't, but I'm sure it was a bit. All right, who do you think I have last for the player rankings? Who do you think I got? Who would go home if Chemo wins AI Arena? I think right now it would be Rabina, but it's very up in the air. That's a dicey situation. I see a lot of people saying Joseph, a lot of people saying Chemo, some Angelas. Well, at number 10, I have Joseph. It's been a steep slide for Joseph. Obviously, he's been kind of speaking out of his ass for a while. Just, you know, like, this is something I did in the house a little bit too, but Joseph's taken it to a whole other level where you're too honest to people's face. And you're acting like you're the only one who sees the game, how it actually is. Socially, he's just really bad. That's the biggest problem with Joseph. Socially, he's really bad. He doesn't have any connections, really. Leah and Quinn should have been his closest 2 connections, and they are both instrumental in him probably being evicted this week or possibly being evicted this week. I think I see someone saying it's crazy he's under Angela. I don't know if he has more win equity than Angela. He hasn't he's shown himself to be terrible at comps, where Angela I think is pretty bad at most things that aren't quizzes, but yeah, he's shown himself to be terrible as well, and he has no respect of anybody in the house in terms of like jury votes. Like I think he's drawing dead as much as Angela, and he's possibly going to be evicted this week. He has no allies, no short-term security, no long-term security, no nothing. And I kind of already spoiled it, but just for the new people in chat who may not be here every week, can you guys help explain how I determine these player rankings? Is it just like one factor that comes into play? How does it work? Thank you, Christy. Thank you, Kayla. Yes, it's a rich tapestry. A rich tapestry encompassing a myriad of factors. Those factors including short-term game security, long-term game security, jury prospects, win equity, comp ability, social game, strategic game, potential showman stuff. Will production help you? That's not really a thing. It's not really too much of a factor in the tapestry. Point being, it's a rich tapestry. So, let's evaluate Joseph's tapestry, because his social game is bad, his strategic game is okay, but I don't think it's great. Short-term security, he might get evicted. Long-term security, he has no one who has his back. Comp ability, he has none. Win equity, he has very little. Jury prospects, everyone seems to not respect his game. The rich tapestry is just not... it's not that rich when it comes to Joseph. It's a poor tapestry. So, that's where I've got Joseph. I'm rooting for him still. You know, it's sad to see him sad. He's a super fan. I'm a super fan. I definitely identify with him quite a bit. And I hope he stays this week and is able to figure something out. I'm not a big fan of how, you know, people are being harsh to him online, and I get it. He's bringing some of it on himself, but, you know, I'm rooting for him. My winner pick. Number 9, who do you think I got? Can you admit this is a horrible winner pick? There's so few people that would be a good winner pick this season. Like, unless you pick Chelsea, I think it's hard to feel good about your pick. A lot of Mackenzie's, Angela, Chemo, mostly Angela's, and it's Chemo. Ooh, bit of a twist. Bit of a twist. I know you guys, I'm very low on Angela usually, but I got Chemo at 9. And look, the rich tapestry is rich, but certain factors are weighed more heavily than others. Short-term security is a big piece of the pie, and when you have a 2/3 chance of being evicted, that's a problem, Chemo. That's a big problem. Yes, there's 3 people competing in the AI arena. He has a 33% chance of winning. It's not like he's better at comps than Rabina or Joseph. Like, they're all pretty bad. Rabina's proven herself to be okay in the arena. He's probably going to be evicted. Even if he stays, he's in a dicey spot. He's just not as connected as Rabina or Cory, so he's always going to be the first one targeted there. If there's this girls thing coming together, that's not good for him. He just doesn't have a path forward. He's the kind of guy, though, if he gets to the end, he could get some jury votes. He's likable. I think people respect him for the most part. He's totally burned Quinn. Quinn's over him. Leah feels like she's trying to play nice to everyone except Chemo. She's, like, actively anti-Chemo. He's got, like, Angela, but that doesn't matter. MJ's not pro-Chemo. She's pro-women. It's just, Chemo, I don't see any path, and he's probably going to be evicted in 2 days. So while I do think, in regards to the rich tapestry, he has a bigger patch of win equity than Angela does, some of those other factors are just killing him, I think. Particularly short-term security. I think Chemo's best case scenario is he wins Arena, Rabina stays over Joseph, and then he can kind of, you know, try to ride out some HOHs, see if him or Rabina could win, and just try to steamroll a little bit. He could also hope Rabina gets evicted, and then maybe him and Cory are not as big of a threat because they got to deal with these other so-called trios, maybe. But it's not good for Chemo. Would Rabina stay over Joseph? It's a tough question. Who do you guys think I have at number 8? All right. No suspense in this one. It's Angela. Angela's tapestry is not bad. Win equity is in the toilet. And she doesn't have much comp ability, of course, just by nature of comps being more physical than they should be. She's done well in the comp so far, obviously, but even stuff like that last AI arena, she just wasn't really competitive. She was more competitive than Tucker, but, she wasn't competitive just because there is that slight physical element that she just gets outclassed in, unfortunately. But she's got security. She's got some allies. I think she has a good chance of making a deep run. She's not on the block right now. But I think most people's win equity, if you think they don't have a good jury prospects, their best jury prospect is sitting next to Angela. That's how she's being talked about. That's how she's being perceived. Thank you, Dee Dee, for the prime. I appreciate you. How are you doing? She had 2 vetoes used on her. Yeah, that's good. I mean, Felicia did as well, which, I think Angela's vetoes... Tucker using the veto on Angela was more so a device for Tucker to just make a big move. It wasn't because of Angela or anything. Leah using it on Angela, I think, is more of a testament to Angela doing good work with Leah. I think I give her credit for that one. Felicia, I don't give Felicia credit for the veto being used on her ever. It was always just to backdoor whoever they wanted. Suri volunteered for it to... if Suri pushed, she would have gotten it used on herself. But, look, she's off the block. She's safe. Doesn't have much win equity, but compared to Chemo and Joseph, I think she's doing just all right. All right. Who do y'all think I have at number 7? Because it gets a little bit more testy here. Just a little bit more testy. Rabina, Quinn, MJ, Cam, Leah, Rabina. Well, at number 7, I have Rabina. And that's it for the chopping block, by the way. Everyone else has made it to the player rankings, which is pretty generous. I could have put 7 people on the chopping block, to be honest, but... Here's the deal with Rabina. I actually am relatively optimistic about Rabina's game. Let's address the tapestry. Well, win equity, I think she's in a reasonable spot. People like her. I don't know how much they respect her game, but I think they do respect her as a person. The only one who really doesn't is Joseph. Socially, she's good. Comp ability, she's proven herself to be okay. She was good on the wall. She was good in the arena. She might be able to pull out a comp or 2. Position, I actually like. She's good with T-Core and Chemo, of course, but I think she's doing good work with Quinn. She's actually getting more in with him than, T-Core or Chemo are doing. She's also pretty good with Cam all of a sudden. Socially, I think Rabina is doing a very good job since Tucker left. There is the elephant in the room, though, of is she going to be evicted in 2 days? There's a good chance. So let's talk about this vote. Assuming Joseph wins the AI arena, Rabina is almost assuredly staying over Chemo. Absolutely. What's up? What is this? This is not a good stream to be in. It's me yelling at the chat, basically. Rabina, Chemo, Rabina's going to stay. I think Rabina's also done better work with T-Core, weirdly enough, than Chemo. Ultimately, I think T-Core, if she could pick, would still want to keep Chemo, but, She's also got the Women Alliance option Rabina has. She's done well socially with even people like MJ. But now the problem is, what if we get to a Rabina-Joseph situation? Okay. Rabina-Joseph. This is dicey. So let's count the votes. Rabina would have T-Core and Chemo. That's good. You only need 4 votes. There's 7 votes. You got T-Core and Chemo locked up. Do you have Angela? Well, Angela doesn't like Joseph. Logically, it would make sense that Angela would vote to keep Rabina. Angela likes Rabina. They get along. They had some talks this week about Tucker and Angela betraying them, and she apologized, and maybe. And then there's Leah, who Leah really should want to keep Joseph, but it's Leah. She's kind of unpredictable. Who really knows? Leah really doesn't like Chemo, but she's fine with Rabina. At least since Tucker left. stance is MJ and Chelsea would get rid of Joseph. MJ is very anti-Joseph. I think MJ would very clearly consider that possibility. Chelsea, I mean, she's anti-Joseph for sure. But I know she would have to betray Quinn in order to keep Rabina. Like, that's a pretty big bridge to cross if you're Chelsea. And why would you do that if you're Chelsea? Right now, you're Chelsea. You have Cam and MJ. And you can get one of the Rabina, Chemo, T-Core alliance out. That seems like a pretty powerful thing to do at the cost of keeping Joseph. I think that's a difficult decision. Ultimately, Rabina would have two paths to try to stay. She would either want to go for Leah and Angela or go for MJ and Chelsea. I think the MJ and Chelsea route is a little bit harder. That route requires you to basically convince Chelsea it's better for Chelsea's game, which is hard because personally I don't think it is. The Rabina path, or the other path for Rabina, which is talking to Leah and Angela, I think you can get them on board. Just convincing Leah is a little bit tough. But it's Leah. You never really know how she's going to decide things. The point is, Rabina is not dead in the water against Joseph. There's ways for her to stay. It's just a real possibility that she ends up on the block next to him and she goes home. So because of those short-term security concerns, I can't put Rabina higher than 7. I can't put her higher than the chopping block. Thank you, Caramello, for the follow, by the way. Really what Rabina has to do is convince Chelsea that she's not locked in with Takema, which is a hard thing to do because that perception's been building for weeks now. But that's what she needs to try to do. How successful will she be? We'll see. Okay. So again, that's the chopping block. Only 4 people, which means the remaining players have made it on to the player rankings. Congratulations, everybody. Claps all around. Now, who do you all think I have at number 6? Numero 6. MJ, Quinn, MJ, Quinn. Seems like MJ and Quinn are the 2 options. At number 6, I have Quinn. Okay. Thank you, Hamtaro. Hamtaro. Sounds like an anime thing. I don't know. Tell me how to pronounce your name. I have Quinn. So look, that person in my Twitter responses wasn't wrong. This is a second bad HOH for Quinn. Now, I think this HOH was a little bit more tough. Things really didn't go his way. He got kind of unlucky with Leah winning the veto. That's a tough result. But even then, like, would he have put Leah up otherwise? Probably not. What I will say is I do like how Quinn has played post being fucked over by Leah. Because I think a lot of people are coming away with the conclusion of like, oh my god, he's just forgiving Leah. I don't know if we're watching the same show. It seems like Quinn is pretty out on Leah. Not as like, oh, not like he can't work with her ever again, but I think he's like, okay, what the fuck? She's obviously just playing me at this point. Like, it seems like he's finally figured out his position in the game and what he has to do. Does he have the options to do any of that? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. I think Quinn described the season pretty well. He said there's Chelsea, Cam, and Chelsea, Cam, and Mackenzie. And there's Takema, Bina, T-Core, Chemo, and Rabina. And then there's Leah, Joseph, and him. I don't believe him, Leah, and Joseph are a trio. That's a machination of his own mind. Him being kind of this lone wolf between 2 sides could be pretty valuable. He'll probably touch the block, especially if there's 3 nominees, but I think he would stay because these sides have to target each other. So no, he doesn't have short-term security, but I don't think he's necessarily target number 1 for everybody. Angela staying this week is really bad for Quinn. I think that's who he should have targeted. I think him trusting T-Core as much as he does is a very problematic thing. And I understand he can't be aware of everything T-Core is saying about him. I know that. He's not omniscient. But he should be aware that you put up Chemo and Rabina, it's going to be hard to work with T-Core. It's just going to be hard. And I feel like he's really optimistic about his relationship with T-Core and how it's going to transcend any damage those nominations did. And it's not, shockingly. Put up someone's closest allies, they're not going to be happy with you. But she's been, slowly easing back into the possibility of potentially considering one day maybe working with Quinn. So, maybe that can turn into something. Quinn's got this thing with Chelsea, which I think is very valuable, but he's got to make sure that Chelsea buys into it as much as he does. What I appreciate about Quinn's game at this point is I think he does view everybody as options, as opposed to like, oh, this is my group and this is the people we're going against. I think at this point he knows he's got to take whatever is given to him. And I think him keeping Mackenzie, Chelsea, Cam off the block could give him security, because if any of them win HOH, he should be safe. Not in the long term, but for the next week or two. And there's a really really big possibility that one of Chelsea, Cam, or Mackenzie is going to win HOH. Just look at them. Compared to the rest of the cast, they're probably three of the strongest competitors, if not the three strongest, minus Quinn. Shouldn't he talk to Angela, though? He should try. I always tried to talk to Heisem and Blue and Felicia, but ultimately, some relationships are just not meant to be. Do you think you and Quinn would have worked together if he was on your season? Yeah, for sure. I think it would have been like It would have been like him and Joseph, except there wouldn't have been the whole weird Leah dynamic. Like, I think we would just nerd out and talk game a lot. Especially in this house where like people don't talk game as much. I think we would just he'd be my Izzy. That's exactly what it'd be. You guys saw how I interact with Izzy in the house? That's what Quinn would be. I think Quinn is much more like Izzy than he is like me, Like, Quinn is almost, what would Izzy be without Suri? But Quinn in America? Look, I think I'd have much more competition from like Cedric and Cam. At least Cedric. The boyish charms, Cam's talking about tampons. You know what it reminded me of? Cam talking about like them having like the good tampons in the house. It reminded me of like the guy on the train reading like the feminism book, the hardcover. It's just cracking me up. I was looking for the picture to tweet it yesterday. McCamby looks like a good guy. Seems like a good guy. How do you think you would have done this season? I think I would have done well. But, I think any season with a more fluid structure is good for me. My season was not fluid, really. It's very, very organized because of Suri and Jared and Izzy. Cam, have any of you heard about the pink tax? Literally. I feel like, let me see if I can find it. One second. It's one of my favorite clips ever. One second. There's no audio for some reason. Oh, there just is no audio to this video. So just read his lips. You catch that? LeBron goes, first of all, happy International Women's Day. It cracks me up every time. When you told America you recognize suffrage and the pink tax, bold of me to come out in support of women's suffrage in 2023. No one's doing it like me. Ahead of the curve. Honestly, look, this is going to sound, are you ready to hear the most pick-me statement of all time? Who's ready? Because you guys know I have a lot of them, especially in the house. I would right now, if you handed me a law, like a bill that I could sign into law, I would sign into law men cannot vote. And that's what every Democrat should do. Every person, and I wouldn't say I'm a Democrat, but everyone who's like left of center, like I'm very far left, like you should just vote. Like, unless you're like a hardline conservative, you should just get men out of voting. It's really bad. And we would also be taken out of the draft. That would be all you women. We would just sit and play games. Sit and play Madden. How about all Republicans? No, we love diversity of thought. I just like when diversity of thought is skewed towards my opinion. You know what I mean? I just like when there's more people in my line of thought than the other line of thought. Cory for president. Babe, that's giving sexism. Are you talking misandry? Am I a misandrist right now? Am I doing reverse sexism? Is that your allegation? Grady, if you want to say it, you can say it. The map showing election results of only women voted are wild. Yeah. Women can vote and men can't. Then men can be drafted. Can't be drafted, but women can. I'm glad to have you here, Nicholas. We've needed a men's rights advocate for a while in chat. You know how I could like mod and VIP people? I wish I could like label you the men's rights advocate. Cory would ban periods. Yes, exactly. On day one in office, my first action as president, banning periods. Nicholas says, shut up, I'm all about women's rights. Automod, I'm going to deny this post. Mike has that title already. Well, Mike's not been here, so sorry. Okay. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. Quinn at 6, Mackenzie at 5. Here's the deal. Quinn's got no options. He has some options, but he doesn't have any close allies. This HOH was kind of a flop. He missed his target. He angered a lot of people. But he still is one of the best competitors in the house, and I think a lot of people are going to have to use Quinn to advance their own games. I don't worry about his win equity. I think his win equity is perfectly fine, regardless of what T-Core says. My big problem with Quinn is how does he get to the end? Because I don't think he's in a ton of short-term danger. Like, he could go home next week, absolutely. But it's not, like, clear that's going to happen. And because he has win equity, I feel comfortable ranking him 6th. Now, MJ, I have at 5. All right, MJ. Here's the deal. She has improved her position drastically. Not really through her own actions, kind of through them. She won the AI Arena twice, and that has given her enough time to stay in the house and wait for things to reshuffle, and they have reshuffled. Her locking in with Chelsea and Cam is a really valuable thing for her game. They're both very strong competitors. Of course, this love triangle thing with Chelsea and Cam is also really bad for her game, because what the fuck are we doing, MJ? I don't think she's even aware. I think the second MJ became aware of it, she would stop. But this is not a house where people confront each other about stuff like that. It's all behind each other's backs. I think MJ does have some win equity. I don't think people respect her game too much, but I think her journey is very impressive. I think she definitely has a good speech she can give, which doesn't matter, but like just in terms of she has a good story, and that's almost more important than your like resume. And I don't think she's anyone's immediate target. Like, if you're targeting Cam, Chelsea, MJ, why are you targeting MJ? Unless you're like T-Core and you're like, okay, I have to take an indirect shot because I don't want to put up Chelsea. Maybe that's how MJ gets sniped out of the game. But you'd kind of think, like, she's not playing the middle, but she shouldn't be anyone's number one target. Of course, MJ also has comp ability. Because of how many arenas she's played in and won, and she almost has a certain confidence in these competitions that other people don't get to build up. She hasn't proven herself to be really good at like HOHs or vetoes, but who knows, that might come up at some point. In this field, I would say she's probably the third best competitor, just behind Quinn and maybe Cam. But is Cam better than MJ? I'm not confident about that. Quinn seems pretty well-rounded. But again, it's a very level playing field, and in this level playing field, she's one of the stronger competitors. So, I'm not super high on MJ's game ability. I don't want us to forget how horrible she was for weeks and weeks and weeks, and how she was going to be evicted twice if not for winning AI arenas. Like, that should stay in the record. But her positioning, I don't hate. She's got win equity. She's got comp ability. I don't think she's in immediate danger. She could be, but I think she's okay. I think MJ's doing all right. Now, let's talk about number 4. We did a poll. You all landed on Leah being number 4. Let's see if you were correct. You're correct. All right. This has been the week of Leah. It's been Quinn's HOH, but it really has been Leah's week. And I've enjoyed it. I'm someone who's very critical about Leah's game. I've not been high on it. I think people are, for the most part, overstating her game. Because every one of her little maneuvers and moves and mists and snows, it's all just Quinn and Joseph. At the end of the day, like, it's always Quinn and Joseph. But she's done some really good things. First of all, she won the veto. And I think she did the right thing with the veto. I think what she should have done, to be clear, is gone to Quinn and said, I'm going to use the veto on Angela. I swore to her that I would use it on her. I know that's hard for you, but let's figure this out together. There's no reason for her to blindside the way she, you know what I mean? That was silly. But using on Angela, I think, is the right call. It's someone who's loyal to her. We know how Angela gets, but bet on yourself to maneuver in that relationship. You know, I'm fine with that. It keeps a number in for Leah. It also is not going to, like, burn bridges across the house. Joseph forgives her immediately because he's Joseph. Quinn is annoyed for sure. Doesn't trust Leah as much, but doesn't have any options really, so I think it's fine. I think Quinn wins HOH next week. He still doesn't, or 2 weeks from now, I don't think he targets Leah anyways. I think she gained some respect of the fellow house guests of like, oh, look at her. She made a gutsy move. And I think Leah really needed respect in this house. She needed a comp win. She needed people to look at her like a real player and a real factor. So I'm happy with that. Here's the downside with Leah. She doesn't have very close bonds. I mean, she's got Quinn and Joseph, but Quinn is kind of a strained relationship now, and Joseph's feeling a little bit iffier on her, but even then, Joseph still says he loves her, so that's kind of weird. She's good with Angela, but it's Angela that's a bit testy, and then she's got, like, Cam and T-Core and Chelsea, who, like, I think are all fine with Leah. The biggest benefit Leah has is she doesn't really have any ops right now. Her one op is Chemo. And Chemo's probably going home. So it's pretty good. This week, she's getting out her number 1 target. She's keeping her number 1 ally, her final 2. She won a veto. She's got more people's respect now. And most importantly, her position, she's in the middle. She's the one player who I believe is truly in the middle. I think Takimo Bina thinks they have a bit of a hold on her. Obviously, Quinn and Joseph want to have a bit of a hold on her. MJ and Cam kind of want to have a hold. Like, she really can go in any direction, and she's a very fluid player. Like, she'll go whichever way the power goes. Very Bowie Jane-esque. In a very different style, but very much just flocking to power, which is a good thing. I am a little bit skeptical about her win equity. I don't think she wins against most people in the final 2. But I do think she beats Angela, and that's who she plans to bring to the final 2, seemingly, so that's good. She's got the right idea. Could she beat Joseph in the final 2? Yeah, probably. She's got some paths. Also, I think it should be noted, going into this jury, there's going to be likely, 6 women and 3 guys? Maybe 5 and 4? So, if women want to just do the vote for women thing, that's great for her. My main criticism about Leah as a player is I don't think she's a very good player. I don't trust her game sense. her game acumen. Like, she pulled off this move to keep Angela, which is good. It was the right decision, but her execution of it was very goofy. Like, she was, like, blindsiding people for no reason, and it was just messy. And then the way that she did damage control with Quinn and Joseph worked, for Joseph at least. With Quinn, I think it worked as well as it could have, but I think most of that is because Quinn, like, knows how to play Big Brother, or at least knows how he should play, and, like, wants to be forgiving and stuff. But, like, if you guys watch these conversations, she's terrible. Like, her big defense is, I forgot. And then she cries. It's very Nicole Franzel-esque. It's like Nicole Franzel if Nicole had really only seen 1 or 2 seasons of the show. No disrespect to Nicole Franzel. I think she's one of the best players to do it. But that's the vibe I'm getting. Very much like, I'm going to make this move and then not stand behind the move and cry about it. But Nicole kind of mastered that, where I think Leah's trying to figure it out on the spot. And she's really only good with Quinn and Joseph in terms of damage control. So, I'm really impressed with Leah this week. She did a great job. She's been very fun to watch. I don't want to seem like a Leah hater. I'm really not a Leah hater. I know Felicia was not super high on Leah. I disagree with that sentiment wholeheartedly. I'm fully a proponent of play with people's hearts, break their hearts, play your game. Like, that's cool. I just don't trust her game ability. That's the problem. So, let's talk about number 3. We've got Cam, we got Chelsea, we got T-Core. Who do you think? T-Core, Cam, T-Core. Mostly Cams. Well, at number 3, I have T-Core. This is the whole thing. I know I spent like the first 50 minutes of the stream talking about how I'm anti-Cam. I'm not anti-Cam. I'm very high on Cam this season. Right now, like, his positioning, I think he has a good shot of winning. It's just, in the grand scheme of Big Brother. All right. So here's the deal with T-Core. I don't like the way she played this week. I think she basically survived this week because of the relationships she built previous to it. She basically spent the whole week shit-talking the HOH, which, like, here's another thing about Big Brother that kind of irks me. And maybe I've just not been tuned into Twitter. Maybe people have been saying this. A lot of people rightfully criticized me for shit-talking Cam during Cam's HOH before the veto meeting. A boneheaded decision. Why would you shit-talk Cam? That can get back to him. You know what I mean? And that's right. You shouldn't do that. I also shit-talked Heisem the entirety of Heisem's HOH week before the veto was used. And he held the veto. Sometimes you get away with it, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's a good move, sometimes it's not. With Heisem, it probably was a good move, but it's very results-oriented thinking. T-Core talked shit about Quinn the entire week, and is lucky it didn't get back to him. Because if it did, she could have been nominated and potentially evicted. So I think she played this week very poorly. I think she also showed, when I say immaturity, I don't mean it as a negative. I mean, like, immaturity in the same way I was somewhat immature in the game. Like, she's very young. I don't even know if it's immaturity. I think it's more like she doesn't deal with adversity well. I think that's the fair way of saying it. She showed a difficulty or a weakness in handling adversity. She is young. She's young too, but Tucker's 30 and threw tantrums, and Rabina was 35 and did not deal with these things well. Angela's 50 and doesn't, I don't think it's an age thing. I think it's like, whenever it happens to a young person, we say it's because of age, and whenever it happens to anyone else, we just say, oh, they're being a baby. You know what I mean? Like, I remember I watched the Why Cory Lost with Ov and David Bloomberg. And they kept talking about, oh, I'm super young, and that's why. And, I appreciated that. They were kind of giving me leeway, but, Jared's 25 and was way worse at all these things, and Blue is 25, was worse at things. America is 27, was worse at some of these things. Matt and Jack, Felicia, you know what I mean? I think we overstate the age aspect sometimes, personally. But the point is, I don't think T-Core handled adversity well this week. She was kind of moping all week. She didn't branch out very well. She's still upset with Chelsea. She's still upset with Quinn. She's kind of locked herself into this trio instead of trying to branch out because she truly had the ability to branch out. People wanted to bring her in. Kind of against their own self-interest. Which part of me is like very impressive by T-Core that she's got people wanting to bring her in when it's obviously a bad idea, but she didn't capitalize on that at all. Someone in the chat said she's too empathetic, and I think that's true. That's why she's probably an amazing friend and not as good of a Big Brother player as she could be. So I think T-Core, all things considered, had a bad week. But she avoided the block when all of her allies are on the block. That's good. That's impressive. Socially, she's still very strong. People all like and respect T-Core. Win equity is not a problem. Jury prospects are not a problem. She gets to the end, she probably wins against most people. The problem is, people are kind of catching on to that, and she's not a very good competitor. She won her booth comp, which is good. You know, it's better than not winning it. But we don't have any reason to think T-Core is going to, like, be able to save herself with vetoes or anything, you know? So I am nervous about that with T-Core. I think she could be a target very soon. I think once people like Chelsea and Quinn stop looking at her as an option because she doesn't give them much, I think that's when her game really falls apart and she could get evicted pretty rapidly. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets evicted 2 weeks from now, you know? So, that's where I'm at with T-Core. I have her this high just because she's proven herself to be really good socially. She has win equity, and she's not in immediate danger. And look, there's a chance Chemo and Rabina stay this week, and T-Core all of a sudden is in a really good position again. Number 2, is it Cam or Chelsea? Do we even have to do this one? We all know what I'm doing, right? Did you guys even do a poll? It's Cam. We've talked extensively about Cam. Cam has put himself in a position where he's a target for sure. He's a big guy, but also as the only big guy left in the game, he's kind of in a decent spot. He could just comp out a little bit. He's also aligned himself with probably the 3 best other competitors in Chelsea, Quinn, and MJ. Getting closer to MJ is good. He's getting closer to Rabina, which is very valuable. He's just got like a really strong core alliance, plus a few connections outside of it, and he's likable, and he's respected, and he's really strong himself. That's enough to get you number 2 this season. If Cam gets to the end, I think he has a good shot of winning against anybody except Chelsea. Everybody. He's likable, he's genuine, he's sweet, he's strong. That's it. When we evaluate Cam's game and why Cam won Big Brother 26, I'll be sure to point out all the flaws, because there's a lot of flaws in his game so far, and he's lucky that he's in this position. But for the time being, he's doing a good job. I'm pretty impressed by how he's playing, and I think he has a boatload of win equity. Okay, let's move on to number 1, Chelsea. She's been on top, I think, 2 weeks in a row now. She was in second for the first few weeks, then she fell down a bit, but never too low. Back to first. She just has options, and she has shown a proficiency in the game that no one else this season has. She's been too passive at points. She's been too active at others. She's not a huge comp threat. She is a big jury threat, but she's not being talked about that much as a huge jury threat, which is good. I truly think, like right now, she's kind of playing the middle. She's telling Takim Obina she'll keep them, and she's telling Joseph she'll keep him. I don't know which path is better for her. Frankly, I think it's better for her to just get rid of one of the trio and just make sure that they get rid of Cam or MJ before her. I think that's probably the right path for her. But she's just doing well. She's even got someone like Quinn. I think Quinn probably feels closest to Chelsea now than anyone in the game, which is huge because Quinn's one of the other great competitors in the house. The one thing Chelsea has to be careful of, she told Joseph she'll talk to the house and see. Did she tell Quinn she would vote to keep Joseph? I feel like I watched a conversation. She might have talked to Quinn, and it was like, who are we getting rid of? Chemo or Rabina or someone. She told MJ and Cam she would keep him. Okay. Point is, she's playing the middle. She's playing the middle. The problem with Chelsea is if this love triangle bullshit fucks up her game, I'm going to be mad because what are you doing, Chelsea? Just keep your eye on the ball. That's it. That's all I ask. Just keep your eye on the ball. Play the game. I ranked Joseph last, Ned. Keep your eye on the ball. Play your game. Keep playing the middle. You've got this, Chelsea. I really, really do believe in you. Come on. You could do it. If Joseph stays and wins HOH, it could get dicey for her. I think she'd have the votes to stay, but I do think she'd be on the block. I think she'd absolutely be on the block, but I think she would stay against just about everybody. I don't think Mackenzie likes Cam like that. I agree, but if Chelsea feels a certain kind of way about it, it doesn't really matter. If you feel me. If you dig. So that's the player rankings. Just a recap. We got Chelsea, Cam, T-Core in your top three. T-Core have been very consistent in the top three. Chelsea's been pretty consistent too. You got Leah on her highest placement ever. MJ on her highest placement ever. Quinn, just doing Quinn things, being middle of the pack despite having some of the most volatile gameplay I've ever fucking seen. And then on the chopping block, of course, in last place we have Joseph, Chemo, Angela, and then Rabina. And Rabina, I want to put a pin in that. Because Rabina, if she wasn't on the block this week with a chance of going home, I'd have Rabina a lot higher. I like the way Rabina's playing. And I've always had a soft spot for Rabina and her gameplay. You guys know that. And I'm very open for her climbing the rankings. So, that'll do it. Let me pull up the Stockwatch, and we'll do that very quickly. I don't know if they closed it, because I know the roundtable is starting quite soon. No, we're good. Okay. Let's just knock it out. All right. Stockwatch. Angela, I still am going to give a 3. She cannot be higher than a 3. She has no win equity. Cam, I'm going to give a 6. I like his game a lot more now than I ever have before. Firmly above average for me. Chelsea is a 7. She can't be higher than a 7. I'm sorry. She just can't be. But I think she's earned a 7. She should be a 7. Joseph is a 2. He could go home this week. He should survive. If he does survive, he doesn't have a clear path. I think a 2 is fair. Chemo, I'd give a 2. He's probably going to get evicted. That's simple. If he stays, he has more of a runway than Joseph, but not by much. Leah, I'd go 5. I like the way she played this week. I think she's got some security. She has more respect from the fellow house guests than she's ever had before. Do you play the Stockwatch? No, I just fill it out. MJ. I mean, I'm between a 4 and a 5. I'll give her a 5. I'll give her the bomb. Sure. I'll give it to her. Will we see you on a Stockwatch episode? I don't think so, but if I'm asked, I'll do it. Quinn, I'm going to give a 4. Classic Quinn stuff. Rabina, I'm going to give a 3. She could get eliminated, but she could stay and cause some damage. T-Core, I'll give I think a 5, honestly. This is my list. This is my rankings. All right. Now I do my faves. I think I'm fully just Team Quinn these days. I'm rooting for him. I like Cam a lot. I like Chelsea a lot. I still like Angela a lot. I kind of like everybody. Like, I'm pretty high in this cast right now. T-Cora's kind of had an off week for me. Leah's always a mixed bag. I do like Rabina a lot. Mackenzie, I like Mackenzie a lot, and then she just goes down the religion pipeline. or the religion rabbit hole, and it kind of irks me. Joseph had a tough week, but I'm still pulling for him. Leah's definitely not here. I think this feels right to me. I think this feels about right to me. I had an interesting observation. So what are the 2 seasons that you guys would say like were the most women girl boss dominated seasons? 6 and 13. I was gonna say 4 and 6. I was gonna say 4 and 6. 13, I hear that though. I hear 13. And 13 kind of applies too. The reason I was saying 4 and 6, what do they have in common? Season 4 and season 6. I would not say BB20 now. But women didn't dominate 4 till the end. You're right, but like, I don't know. I think it's just thought of as like the Alice and June season, you know? Final 3s of women, you know. Didn't they both have exes? That was like the big twist. Or like there was the secret pairs where there was like exes in the house. BB6 was not all exes, but like there was some. I think that plays a factor. I think when you have women in the house where you got like exes to shit on, I think it like has such a stronger, you know. It was exes and duos, yeah. I think it's interesting. I just kind of made that connection today. I was like, huh, that's funny. And BB13, I mean, they came in as couples, but not necessarily exes. The episodes this week, I did not enjoy the episodes very much. I mean, do they count like the Thursday episode where Tucker was booted? Does that count in the week? I think it does, right? Because that was after the last Stockwatch. That was awesome. I was actually great. Yeah, it was one of the best episodes. Sunday episode was fun. I didn't hate it. I thought Angela was very funny. The feeds this week, I think they've been good. I think they've been pretty consistent this season. The season, I think it's a 7 out of 10 season. It's been good. Maybe a 6. Quinn's HOH train, it's a 3. It hasn't been like disastrous, but it's been bad. AI Arena, I'm over it. AI Instigator, it was not a twist. Did Leah make the correct decision with the veto? Yes. And I think I want Chemo evicted, unfortunately. I think that's just my favorite outcome here. I think it breaks up the game the best. And I think Chemo is probably the most boring to watch in the feeds out of all these guys. I like Chemo a lot, though. And we're going to Terran's Twitch. All right. Well, that'll do it. That's the stream. First stream in a while. The streaming schedule for the next few days is going to be a little bit up and down. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I don't want to lock anything in because, of course, we're hosting people. I'm definitely going to stream with Bowie at some point over the next few days. We'll have a Bowie stream. But other than that, it'll be kind of off and on. We're going to upload Big Brother 7 rewatch tonight. So, you know, we got to watch 2 more episodes, then we'll upload that. And finally, we have the podcast, which will be coming out in the next few days because we're going to record with Bowie. So we just deciding to make that option. We thought that'd be more fun for y'all. Stream with Cedric. How would that work? Okay. That'll do it. Thank you all for hanging out. Anyone live right now? Any of the homies? Is America going live after the Bachelorette finale? Probably, yeah.